You're listening to the Viral Volley podcast. Now here's your host, Rob, on the mic.
Last night was yet another thrilling night, and we're so close to Halloween. It was a battle of two Pac-12 Titans, as number 10 Washington at number 13 Oregon. Is a Cinco setter, or what we like to call a reverse sweep. Washington goes down 0-2, finds themselves, and comes back for the next three. So with me today, I've got Shannon Crenshaw, LMA Powell, and head coach Keegan Cook joining me this morning after a couple cups of coffee, hopefully. But before we talked about your side of the court, I wanted to point out some great performers on the Oregon side. Brooke Nuneviller, 15 kills, 275, 3 blocks, just 10 digs, a double-double, tacking on 15.5 points. And Taylor Borup, the other outside, 14 kills, 3 blocks, just 10 digs, a double-double for her. So for all of you, Oregon came out hot of the gates offensively, hitting 333 in the first and 298 in the second. Was it something the Ducks were doing offensively, or was it just a funky start for the Huskies? We'll start with you, Ella.
Oregon did exactly kind of what we thought they were going to do, and like what they did to us last year and kind of what we scouted them to do. I don't think it was anything that they obviously play a very different game than we see in our gym. So I think that always catches us off guard a little bit. As much as we try to prepare for it, I think it always just has a little bit of effect on us. But I think the biggest thing was just we couldn't really find our groove and we couldn't find our style of volleyball. We were trying to just felt like we were kind of just reacting for the first set instead of playing our game and like doing what we do. And so I think that was the biggest talk in timeouts and in between sets is just finding our style and doing what we do and not even worrying about what they're doing on the other side of the net. And I think that's what kind of turned it around for us.
I'm going to jump over to Keegan for this one. Your thoughts on their offensive performance and your response to it.
Yeah, it was hard to differentiate whether it was tactics or effort. I think was maybe the hardest part. We didn't really give ourselves a chance to see if our game plan would work in that first set. Everything just seemed easy for them, and like Ella said, scout team versus live is always different. It takes you a few plays to maybe get on time and get on task. But yeah, it certainly was not feeling great after that first set from an effort standpoint, and certainly wanted to see if our game plan would work. Oregon, when they pass the ball well, can really get after you with running a 6-2 with everyone who can score. And so yeah, they were on script, and we didn't do much to get them off script early. So yeah, it was looking a little dire there in the beginning.
Yeah, Shannon, I'm going to jump over to you because I know your role comes in off the bench, but had to be going kind of nuts with your team down and not exactly right where you wanted to be. But what's your comment from the bench perspective?
Yeah, it's like it's kind of hard sometimes coming in and coming out just because it's hard to get in a groove. But it was really important for us on the sideline to be giving information to people on the bench, people on the court. And then coming on and really knowing like what's going on and what we need to do, what we need to take care of, kind of being able to see what Oregon was doing kind of from a distance and then being able to come in and make an impact about it. Yeah, lots of communication from either side.
Right. Now, was there any concern by your team, especially after hitting, and I hate to say this, especially with the setter on screen, a dismal 086 in the first set? And we'll go to you, obviously, Ella.
It doesn't feel good. I'll definitely say that, but I think we've been in that position before, and it's been really something we've been working on this year, and a frustrating thing to do whenever it's just not who we are. And I think it means a lot to our hitters. Like that's not just a number. And so they take that personally. And I think once they realize that, you don't need to even say anything to them. They'll figure it out. But yeah, it doesn't feel good, but I'm proud of how we turned it around.
All right, I'm going to jump to Coach Keegan on this one. Any concerns for you?
I mean, yeah, you're always concerned at some point, you don't want to go down one set against so many teams. It's happened quite a few times for us, but in different ways. We've jumped out to big leads and given it up. In this case, I didn't think we gave great effort in the beginning, but there's also a bit of a confidence in knowing that we're not going to get swept here. We're gonna push back. We're gonna make them earn it. And then offensively, we've had just a number of players who maybe start slow and then find themselves, but early on, like Ella said, with this group, they know when they're not doing what they're supposed to do. And so sometimes timeouts are short and conversations are short, and it's kind of, you're looking at each other like, we've all been doing this together for a long time. We know what needs to happen here. And I thought we made a couple changes. A couple players started taking some really courageous swings, and LMA got them in rhythm, and our service team stayed steady the whole time, which at least gives you that foundation to kind of get things going. And slowly and surely, we did start getting our offense firing.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to jump over to Shannon for this next question, but what was the team telling each other in their huddles and timeouts, especially when Oregon turned it around? Because in the second set, watching from where I was at, looked like you guys are going to take that set, but then they stole that second set to go up 2-0. What was happening from your perspective?
There's a lot of communication going back and forth, and we're trying to really just like stay calm, trust each other, stick to our tactics, stick to what we know. I think kind of like what we said earlier, like it's easy to kind of try to feel it out and try to do things that we think are going to work rather than just doing what we know what to do, like what we know how to do. So there's a lot of conversation about going back to our game plan, back to the way we play, and not trying to force things that we shouldn't be doing.
Yep. And then for Keegan, what were you telling your team after that second set at that intermission with being down 0-2? If you said anything at all, that is.
Yeah, no, pretty short conversation. I just told them I didn't really care about much else other than some effort and some fight, and that if they're fighting hard and then they're giving maximum effort, then we'll ride with them, anywhere against anybody, regardless of the results. Certainly in that second set, things were going better tactically, and then it got down to that point where you got to have a little bit of intangibles, and it wasn't there, and it just didn't feel like it should feel in a Washington-Oregon match. There's been so many great ones, and there's always a lot of emotions, and that's what's fun, when you're playing a great opponent and you're giving it everything you got. And I didn't sense that, and so just challenge them to fight. No matter what it looked like tactically, just show us that you're giving your best effort. And certainly it showed up there in those last three sets. But also, we're a pretty steady team, and sometimes your strength can be your weakness. We can kind of play some steady volleyball, but sometimes we have a hard time, kind of jumping on people. And so it's hard to know whether it's part of your identity, and it served us well in those last three sets. So you just have to kind of accept who you are and try and improve,
Right. Now, Ella, you were able to ignite the Huskies offensively, especially having them hit a set best of the match, a 333 in the fifth set tiebreak. How did you motivate the team to come back after being down 0-3 in the fifth set?
Something that I've kind of like been telling myself and just kind of like trying to tell other people is just to like separate sets, and like to just, even if we won the last set, if we lost the last set, like it doesn't matter. It's a brand new set. And to be honest with you, I think we did a really good job of that. And I never really had a doubt that we would do that. There was never a point where I was scared that we were going to lose the match. Like it was always just like, okay, like, here we go. We're going to be here all night, and we have 3 more sets to go, and we just got to get to work. And that's all it really is. Of course, there's that natural emotion and passion about it, but it really was just, let's get to work. Like, we're starting to play better. We're going to get them, like, just keep doing what we do. And there's a lot of words flying around, but I think we really did a good job of just doing our jobs. Like, each person did their job really well.
Right. Now, Keegan, your ladies are down 4-6 in the fifth, grinded back to tie it at 8-8. Then Oregon was hit with 3 unforced errors. And then Claire Hoffman unloaded from the left pin for 11-8 lead in the fifth. And then you ended up finishing with an 8-1 scoring run. You turned it on, but what was happening, and what did you do something differently to ignite that surge of points?
Yeah, I know. We certainly thought we had them in a good rotation, but big moment, I think, for Sienna Houghton, serving sub, who came in a tough role and put a bunch of good serves in play. And between her and Shannon, who both just made some amazing digs, in that run, and then LMA putting in a position where Claire could take some big rips, but all of a sudden you saw what can happen when our serving and defensive identity kind of comes to life. All of a sudden points just come in runs, and we hadn't seen it like that pretty much the whole match, and it showed up in a great moment. And then, like you said, a couple unforced hitting errors. But yeah, certainly it was a big moment, for us defensively to kind of go on that run.
Excellent segue for my next question for Shannon. Nabs 10 digs, 2 aces off the bench, a string of digs in the fifth that couldn't have been more huge and timely, with a score of particularly 13-8 that resulted in Claire's crush to make the score 14-8 per match point. Walk us through that rally, because I saw that hit online, and that was a bomb, and you were able to control it.
Yeah, we have such a focus on defense in practice, especially now, just like something that we really are trying to get better at. And so a big emphasis is on seeing the game. And in the moment, it was just kind of like it was like reverting back to the basics, like seeing where the hitter is going, seeing where there's open space, and just making the play. Just kind of, I guess, not as simple as that, but, just like doing what needs to be done, getting under the ball, getting it high. We focus on digging high off the net. I think one of them went over, but, just keeping it alive, giving us another shot. And
then for you, Ella, with Marin coming off of a player of the week, offensive player of the week a couple of weeks ago, and then she comes in, nabs 13 kills and hitting .571 while adding 4 block assists. She was defensive player of the week, to be correct, a couple of weeks ago. But can you share a little bit about your middles performances in last night's match, because they came up really big in sets 3, 4, and 5?
Yeah, one of our focuses this year has just been getting them involved as much as we can. And Marin is one of my favorite people to set and play with, because she's just so disciplined, and she'll manage any situation so well. That one hitting error is even uncharacteristic for her. So she's just a pretty constant person on our court, and she's the middle role for her is like the perfect person, because she just controls our blocking, and I love blocking next to her. I love setting her. I can't say enough good things about her, but I'm really proud of how she played last night, and just really proud of how our offense developed with them involved. Lauren as well. They both did a really good job of getting involved.
Well, Ella, it's okay to take some credit, because obviously you didn't get to watch the Pac-12 broadcast, but they were commenting on the one thing you worked on particularly was your blocking, and you did have 2 huge blocks last night. I don't know if you even recall them, but they were talking highly of your blocking performance as a setter, as a setter myself. Getting those blocks is very motivating.
Yeah, I would say that blocking is my favorite and most frustrating thing about volleyball, but definitely rewarding. I think one of those blocks, I don't even know how it happened, but yeah, I've been working really hard on my blocking, and just any progress I see is good news. So,
all right, for Coach, your team goes to 12-3 overall, 5-2 in conference. Where do you feel your team is from a readiness standpoint here at, we'll call it the midpoint of the season, especially from a team that enjoys 5-set tie breaks, especially only out of 7 Pac-12 conference matches?
Yeah, I think just they're in a really good position to learn, just this week, maybe some of my favorite practices with this group, just really, really clear and disciplined, and just talking about the right things, and so more than ever, feels like we're now in a position to really take off, but it's going to be like this all year, Rob. Just the Pac-12 is just, can't describe it, how good these teams are relative to last spring. We just saw most of these teams 5-6 months ago, and these teams are back. Some of them, didn't have the entire season they wanted, due to different issues, and they're hungry and they're playing at a high level. And the fact that these matches are going 4 and 5, I mean, you can just expect it to continue. And it's certainly some people we're a value ticket right now, but just, every night you need to show up ready to battle. And for fans, you can enjoy it. And for coaches, hang in there, everybody. It's gonna be fun.
Team Cardiac Kids up in Washington, huh?
Yeah, I hate that nickname to some degree, but yeah, we'll love watching our kids compete, all the way to the end.
Yep. Now, your next match is going to be at Oregon State. What are your thoughts on the next matchup? And we'll go to you, Shannon.
To be honest, we're like so focused on the team that we're about to play, and we haven't even talked about Oregon State yet. We're gonna get to work though about them, or we're gonna get to work and start talking about them here soon, and really dial in what we need to do on our side of the net, especially to slow them down. So we're excited for it.
All right. How about you, Ella? Anything to add?
Yeah, like she said, it's about us and our game. So I don't care who's on the other side of the net. It's just every game we're gonna get better. So.
And then we'll round it out with Coach Keegan here. Any thoughts on the next matchup?
Yeah, just as hard as all the rest of them would be my mindset. Like Ella said, this was a double road trip. We were on the road last week. Following a short week, we were at home for just a minute, and then came back out here on the road again. So not looking too far ahead, certainly not when we had a Thursday match against Oregon. So what I know about Oregon State is usually a very impressive defensive team, really disciplined blocking, one of the best liberos in the conference for the past 4 or 5 years in Grace Massey. So, but besides that, haven't watched 1 minute of film, honestly. So just that's what I've got on tap on this beautiful fall day. I'll be locked in the hotel room trying to get these guys ready. So, yeah, excited to compete.
We've got an excellent group on the screen here for our little interview. Thank you to Shannon Crenshaw, LMA Powell, and Head Coach Keegan Cook of the Washington Huskies. Now 5-2 in the Pac-12, and it's going to be a grinder battle the entire way. So looking forward to tracking your progress as we go and finish out the tail end of the season. Thank you all for coming on.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, Rob.